Here is the uncomfortable truth about confidence. Most of what gets taught does not work. Stand tall. Make eye contact. Speak slowly. Project certainty. And at some level, you already know this because you have tried some version of it. And when the moment came, when it actually mattered, the gap between what you were performing and what you actually felt became very clear. Today, we are going deeper. Real confidence, where it actually comes from, and how to build it in a way that does not collapse under pressure. Welcome back to Juan Decoded. We have been building something through these first few episodes. In episode 1, we looked at why nice guy behavior repels women. In episode 2, we went into desperation and why trying harder often makes things worse. Today's episode completes the foundation, because you cannot solve desperation or people-pleasing without addressing the root, genuine self-worth, the kind that does not depend on her response, the kind that holds steady when things do not go your way, the kind she can actually feel. If you have ever known what to do but struggled to actually feel it, this one is for you. By the end, you will understand why most confidence advice is surface level, where real self-worth comes from, and the specific steps that actually build it. Let us get into it. Here is the problem with confidence, as most people understand it. It is taught as a performance, a set of behaviors to display, body language cues, vocal tonality, how to hold yourself in a room. These things can help at the margins, but they are not the foundation. And when you build on a weak foundation, the structure only holds until something real tests it. The right person, the right rejection, the right moment where you realize you actually care a lot about how this turns out. And in that moment, if the confidence is performed rather than felt, it disappears. She can feel the gap between what you are presenting and what is underneath, not because she is analyzing you, but because human beings are wired to read emotional states. She does not need to name it. She feels it as something not quite right, something uncertain, something that makes her slightly less safe rather than more. So where does the gap come from? For most men, it starts with how they learned to measure their own value. From a young age, most of us were trained to look outward. Grades, approval from authority figures, how popular we were, how people reacted to what we achieved. We were taught consistently that our value was something other people determined. And when that pattern runs deep enough, you carry it into every room, into every conversation, into every interaction with a woman you are attracted to. You are constantly, unconsciously, scanning for signals of approval. Does she seem interested? Is she smiling? Did she respond quickly? And you adjust your behavior based on what you read. This is why the nice guy agrees with everything, why the desperate man texts 5 times, why the people pleaser never says what he actually thinks. They are all running the same underlying program. I need you to approve of me in order to feel okay. The opposite of this is not arrogance. It is not indifference. It is a quiet, solid sense of your own value that does not require anyone else's input to stay intact. That quality is what women are actually drawn to, and it has to be built, not borrowed. Here is the core insight of this episode. Your confidence is a direct reflection of the relationship you have with yourself, not the relationship you have with how others see you, not the one you have with your achievements or your status, the relationship you have with who you actually are, your values, your standards, your willingness to be honest about what you want and what you will not accept. When that relationship is strong, something changes. You stop needing her approval. because you are already approving of yourself. You stop performing because you are not trying to convince anyone of anything. You stop fearing rejection because your sense of value does not depend on this particular outcome. There is also a reframe around fear that once it lands, changes everything. Most men who struggle with approaching women are running a loss calculation. What if she says no? What if I embarrass myself? What if she laughs? The mind invents potential losses and the body freezes. But here is the honest accounting. Before you walk over, you have nothing. No connection, no number, no conversation. If she is not interested, you walk away with exactly what you had before. Nothing lost, not even a little. If she is interested, everything changes. The upside is real. The downside is zero. Once you actually feel this, not just understand it intellectually, fear loses most of its grip. Because fear requires something to protect. And in that moment, there is nothing to protect. Think about a man at 90 years old. He is lying in a hospital bed, looking back at his life. And he is not counting the times he failed. He is counting the times he did not try. The conversations he talked himself out of. The moments where fear made the decision for him. The version of you that is 30 or 40 years older has one message. You had nothing to lose. Go. Here is how to actually build this in your daily life. The first step is to anchor yourself in what you are already proud of. Before any interaction, before any moment where your confidence matters, do this. Get clear on what you actually respect about yourself. Not what you wish was true. What is already true. The discipline you bring to your work. The way you show up for people who matter to you. The physical effort you consistently make. The values you refuse to compromise. These are not small things. These are the actual substance of who you are. Write them down as evidence, not as affirmations. You are not trying to convince yourself of something. You are reminding yourself of what is real. When you walk into a room carrying that evidence, your energy shifts in a way you cannot manufacture, and she cannot miss. The second step is to stop seeking approval and start seeking honesty. Every time you feel the urge to say something because you think she will like it, rather than because you actually mean it, pause. Ask yourself, what do I actually think here? Then say that. This does not mean being difficult or contrarian. It means trusting that your real perspective has value. Every time you do this, you build a muscle called self-trust. Every time you edit yourself for approval, you weaken it. The third step is to fully embrace the only gain mindset. Run the honest calculation. Before any interaction, remind yourself, I have nothing right now. If this goes nowhere, I am exactly where I am. If it goes somewhere, everything changes. The downside is zero. The upside is real. And even a rejection is not a loss. A man who has been told no many times has something most men never develop. Real evidence that rejection is survivable, that he can handle it and still be okay, that it does not break him. That evidence is worth more to your confidence than any technique you will ever read about. The fourth step is to stop punishing yourself for every mistake. Most men with low self-worth are their own harshest critics. Every awkward moment becomes proof of inadequacy. The internal voice is relentless. Start interrupting that pattern. When you handle something well, notice it. When you say the honest thing instead of the safe thing, give yourself credit. When you show up with more composure than you expected, acknowledge it. This is not arrogance. It is basic fairness. You would not speak to a close friend the way you speak to yourself. Extend the same standard inward. And finally, the fifth step. Build the life, then bring the life. The deepest source of real confidence is not mindset work. It is the life you are actually living. A man who is genuinely building something, who invests in his health, who maintains real relationships, who wakes up with direction. That man carries himself differently, not because he is performing anything, because he has real evidence every single day of his own value. Build the life first. The confidence will follow naturally. And when she meets that version of you, she will feel something she cannot quite explain, but will not want to walk away from. If this episode resonated with you, the full chapter, with detailed exercises and the complete self-worth building system, is in the ebook linked in the description. Subscribe if you want weekly episodes on confidence, authentic attraction, and becoming the kind of man who does not need to chase. Drop a comment. What is one thing you genuinely respect about yourself that most people do not know about? I read everyone. Next week, we are going into one of the most uncomfortable topics in this series, the people-pleaser wound, where it comes from, why it runs so deep, and what it is actually costing you in your relationships. That is episode 4. See you then.